Hey, everybody, welcome to episode number 38, Business Insights with Matt Milia. And I am extremely excited for our podcast today. I have a guest who has gone through so much more and has accomplished a lot with tons of challenges and obstacles in his way, and he's defeated them. So I want to share with you, and I'm going to actually have him give a little bit about his story and how he overcame those obstacles. But you'll want to stay tuned till the very end so that you can get all of his insight, all of his wisdom, and he'll show you how to do it right away. But first, let's cue that intro. Welcome to Business Insights with Matt Milia. I'm your host, Matt Milia, and in this podcast, we'll talk about the real, raw, uncut business success secrets you won't find anywhere else. Follow my journey from entry level to CEO. We discuss real actionable items you can plug into your business right away. To subscribe to our weekly top tips, you can go to www.mattpodcast.com and join our community of elite high-level performers. And if you're interested in our inside sales company, you can go to www.appointmentstoday.com to jump on a free strategy call. And now, stay tuned for our podcast. All right. What's happening, Shawn?
Hey, how you doing?
I am great. I am so pumped that you were able to join this week. So thank you for coming on, and can't wait for you to drop some knowledge on everybody. But for everyone who doesn't know you, why don't you share a little bit about yourself and tell everyone a little bit about your journey?
Yeah. So my name is Shawn Harper. I played 7 years professional football. I played 3 to 3.5 in the NFL, and then the other 3 in NFL Europe. And so I had a wonderful time. I blocked for great running backs and quarterbacks. I'm also a business owner. So to be able to speak and to address ownership issues, entrepreneur issues, corporate issues, actually, I really enjoy that because there's so much in our society that teaches you information or information that's not really relevant. They teach you how to, set the game up. They don't teach you how to play the game. And one thing I've learned in life is that if you don't know how to play the game, you're going to get played by the game. And so having relevant, on-time information is huge. About my story, most people think, playing in the NFL, business owner, speaker, motivational, whatever you want to call it, there's a ton of success, or the road was paved, or it was laid out for you. You were fast tracked, and you know what? Nothing could be further from the truth. I remember standing in the second grade line, first day of school in the second grade. I was so excited to be in the second grade, right? Matt, I had on my tough skin jeans, and I had the 32 pack of crayons, and not the 64, but not the 16, right? But and the teacher walks over and she grabs my left hand and she pulls me back into the first grade line. And my friends begin to yell, "Shawn, you failed. Shawn, you're stupid. Shawn, you're dumb." And I begin to carry that stigma. And by the time I was in the 5th grade, I was documented with 4 to 5 learning disabilities. Let me go back for a second. And I don't know why, I just feel that I should say this. No, if you have, kids, a son or a daughter, and they're struggling early on in education, listen, get behind him or her, support him or her. Kids can be so cruel. Okay, support them because they know that they don't fit in, but you know what? Maybe they're not supposed to fit in. Growing up, there's so much, energy to conform, and they, criticize people who are outliers, or people who are different. But it's weird because when we get older, we celebrate people who are different. We celebrate the, athlete who can, run the fastest, or a basketball player who can maybe score the most points, or a, CEO who makes billions every year. We celebrate uniqueness, but early on we kind of criticize it. And so I was able to, to deal with that, or truthfully have that deal with me, being documented with the learning disabilities. By the time I was in the 5th grade, the 8th grade now, I was kicked out of a couple of schools because of disciplinary issues. I left high school with a 1.62 cumulative GPA, 9 on my ACT. Out of 154 seniors to graduate, my academic ranking was 154. I was voted most likely to fail, and I stuttered my entire life. I could not complete a sentence till college. But underneath
Wow.
all of that, ladies and gentlemen, there was a dream. And I'm here to tell you right now, this might offend some of you, but it's okay. Because if you go through life and you don't offend anyone, then you know what? You're being played by life. Outside of God and His love, there is nothing more powerful than the dream. And one of the ways I can tell people are getting older is because they lose their dream. And when people lose their dream, they begin to die. I'm telling you right now, whether it's to dream of a business, whether it's to dream of another venture, maybe it's a dream of this quote unquote great relationship that they're supposed to have, or maybe there's someone around them that's no longer with us. We lose the dream, man. The dream is so powerful, right? And so I had this dream of playing professional football, but there was nothing around me that validated the dream that was in me. But I made a switch one day. And the switch I made was that I put away the thoughts of being successful because, if I have time, I'll explain later. Success is a sucker's game. But I put on the concept of a winner. And one thing I knew is that I was born to win. And once I begin to live my life and to think and to articulate life or direct life from that perspective, then things begin to shift in my life. I had a winning attitude versus a success attitude. And I tell you what, I began to MacGyver life, Matt. And I went from sitting on the bench, not playing the first year at all, to being a junior college Hall of Fame, All-American, full scholarship, Indiana University, blocked for Heisman candidates, and then ended up being drafted, played 7 years. Why? Because I learned how to win.
I love that. And that in itself, I mean, being able to overcome all those challenges, those obstacles, and then making it to an elite level. I mean, I played a couple of years of high school football, and
It's all right.
you know what? It's funny because I'm like, man, like I shouldn't even talk about football with the NFL player on. But for me, at least, because I was not good at it, and it wasn't what I was passionate about. But you obviously took it, and you took that drive, that momentum, those obstacles, and you let that fuel you to become the best version of yourself. How do you feel like today that's applicable to business? And have you learned some things from playing, you know, in high school and growing up and college, and then of course at the elite NFL level that you can apply to business practices today?
Right, great question. Upon entering business after retiring from the NFL, I struggled, and I promise you, I really struggled because I wasn't groomed to be in corporate America. I wasn't groomed to, you know, it was just a totally different world for me until I realized that they're virtually the same. They're interchangeable at a certain level. Like CEOs want to win. CEOs don't want to be successful. They're already successful. You know, whether it's a male or female, these individuals are successful. They want to win. They want to make their numbers. You know, they want to make their quarterly projections. You know, in fact, they rig the game so they can win. You go to you talk to a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, and he or she's like, well, guess what? Even if I don't perform, this is my buyout. Okay, they call it a golden parachute. Because in the end, I'm going to win regardless. Okay, there's going to be a win in here for me somewhere. Unfortunately, they teach people in middle management and under how to be successful. And so what I was able to do was to pull in the graft techniques and strategies from playing in the NFL, and I began to incorporate them in the workplace. And my results were phenomenal. One of the things that I yanked over, or just to pull over, is my tendency and ability to study the competition. You know, a lot of people are in business and you don't know what your competitor's doing. You don't understand your competitor's methodology. You have very little knowledge about what your competitor's doing, what the climate is doing, what the paradigm shifts are doing, and how it's going to affect your business. You just think that you're going to go there and work real hard. I tell you what, you just have that work real hard mindset, you're going to be out of business real quick. In the NFL, I knew everything about every player that I was going to go up against. I probably even knew what he had for breakfast. Okay, I studied, I understood the concepts, the schemes, the tendencies, the practices. I knew everything. And they knew everything about us. They knew what formation that this they're going to run when they're in this formation. When he does like this, then Omaha means flip to the other side. You have to study your environment and study your competition, and you just look for the slightest change, and you know how to react with full force. That's one of the many things I brought over from playing football into the corporate arena.
I love that. And so going back to the NFL, and not really a business question per se, but what was probably one of the most difficult people that you matched up against? Would you say, in your opinion, that gave you the toughest time?
Well, I tell you what, there was a guy that played for Miami, and his name was Brian Cox. Brian Cox was a linebacker, and we would do a lot of special team plays and such. And this guy was just straight up mean. Like, there's people who play who are tough and who are aggressive, but there's not a lot of just people just like Jack Youngblood mean. And Brian Cox was one of those individuals where he was just straight Jack Youngblood, just mean, like like Mr. Singletary mean. He was just a mean guy. He was a tough person, definitely.
Oh man. You had to, of course, overly prepare for everyone you played against. And I know you had said when I was watching through the Goalcast, one of the things that really it just resonated with me, and I kept hearing it. He's not supposed to be here. Why is he here? What was it that made it that you weren't supposed to be there? Was it an academic? Was it size? Was it just, what was it that you felt like people were putting that label saying you shouldn't be here?
Well, it's not only what I felt. People have actually mentioned it. Like, how did you get here? You have to understand that especially today, in the era of sports camps, and they are tracking athletes from Pop Warner. They are tracking these individuals all the way through. They know who the stars are. They know who the pretenders are. They're tracking them. And so you take a person that wasn't all state, wasn't all city, wasn't all conference, wasn't even honorable mention all conference, barely started, and nobody goes off to a junior college. He doesn't start the first year at junior college. In fact, he doesn't even step on the field the first year. And so this individual's on no one's radar, coupled by the fact that the academic challenges with a 1.62 cumulative GPA, 9 on my ACT. Okay, coupled by that, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this individual's drafted third pick in the fourth round, and he's playing on an actual NFL roster. No one saw that coming. So in essence, no, you are not supposed to be here. Okay, you're supposed to have another reality, not this one.
Makes total sense. When you broke through, and because there's always going to be that stigma of you're not strong enough, big enough, fast enough, you're not starting, you don't have the academics, but you broke through that and you got into the NFL. Would you say that's when you really put in that work, that extra step? Because now you already reached your goal. You reached one of your major goals. Because I remember you had said you put on the whiteboard that one of the goals that you had was you wanted to be playing D1 and you wanted to make it into the NFL. And I don't even know what the percentage is. It's got to be it has to be such a small percentage of people that actually make it to the show.
Yeah.
What is it that when you got into the NFL, what were some of the things that you had learned that you had to put into just every day, or was it still just taking what you had learned before and applying it? What did you learn? What were some takeaways getting in there?
So great question. One of the things that I had to realize, and which is also what I bring to corporate, is that in the NFL, they're playing for the edge. What I mean by the edge is that the competition, the talent, it's probably like this much. I mean, it's like this person may be this much better than the next person. The competition is fairly close across the board. Okay.
Hmm.
So you have to look for an edge. You have to, what's going to give me the edge in this situation or circumstances? What's going to give me the edge against this player? So you have to study. You have to do research. You have to train twice as hard just to get a little bit of a competitive edge over the other individual. You have to develop new tactics and new strategies, uh, uh, like just new concepts, because the edge is what's going to get you to the next level. So definitely. Not only that is keeping a proper perspective of the NFL. And the players that last a long time, and I don't consider myself lasting a long time, the players that last a long time have a proper perspective of what the NFL is. The NFL is a business in the facade of a sport. Okay, you have to understand that the decisions that they're making business decisions. These owners, male and female, they're making business decisions. And so when you see a player who played maybe for the, Indianapolis Colts, was a star quarterback, and this individual gets cut, and the fans are going crazy. Why? Because it's a sport to them. But to the ownership, it's a business. And these are business decisions. And I would hate to be in that position as an owner, to have maybe a quarterback or a running back that's been around for 15 years, maybe. And then one day you have to make a decision to cut this player, and you have to part ways, and it's tough. But if but if you're not able to make those decisions, you better get out the seat, because you won't be around for long.
And that's extremely applicable to business, because I mean,
Extremely.
you have to understand that if you're not putting in the work, the effort, or realizing that there's a greater good that you're serving, or a purpose that you're serving, you won't be in business for very long. And
Yeah.
it makes a lot of sense. And it's
Yeah.
crazy to think. So you were with St. Louis, and you went to Indianapolis. Was it Manning? Did you ever block for Manning, or was he not there yet, or
No,
when?
no. I blocked for this crazy unorthodox quarterback uh, named Jim Harbaugh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jim Harbaugh, and then I was heading into Manning. Marvin Harrison was there, but I was gone by then. Yeah.
Okay. And I want to go back. You said you didn't last as long I mean, were you there 7 years? 8? I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
that's a long time, because
Well,
you
well,
take a beating.
NFL is for 3.5. I didn't make it all the way through the full season with Houston.
Okay.
Um, and the NFL Europe was 3. So
Gotcha.
yeah, the average lifespan in the NFL is under 3 years.
Wow.
But I'm trying to play like 15 years. But you know what? Hindsight 2020. I'm glad the Lord didn't bless me to play those years, because there are players I know who've played 7, 8, 9, 10 years, and their bodies are mangled. They're on a disability. It's bad for them right now. It's really bad for them right now.
Would you say the least impact position would be like a kicker? I mean, would that
Yeah,
probably be
yeah.
like yeah?
Oh yeah.
You
Like,
take.
oh, kicker. Yeah, kicker.
I
The
love
kicker.
it.
Yeah.
But you know what? I mean, that takes an an amazing amount of skill to make it to that level. So you're taking some of the practices that you have now, and you're putting it into your business. As far as where your business is today, and you do motivational speaking, you do some coaching. What is it that you tend to focus on? Do you bring people? Do people bring you in, or how does that work? Like, if somebody
Well,
wanted to get in touch to bring you
yeah.
in.
So as far as the actual speaking aspect of it is concerned, yeah, if you want to bring me in, all you have to do is go to ShawnHarper.org. That's my website. Or go to any search engine, type in Shawn Harper with a W. Shawn, yeah, Shawn with a W. There's a contact form there, and I guarantee you, we're going to have fun. Uh, it's not going to be a typical left brain uh, speech with notes and cliff notes and whatever type of notes you're going to take. And no, it's engage, it's impactful, because that's how I learned. I learned engaging. I learned because the things that I retained are impactful, and I was able to full body immerse experience.
Amazing. As far as one thing as well, looking back at the video, and it's funny because you didn't even tell me to watch that video before, and I'm glad I did, because I got to learn a little bit, and I did my homework. I feel like that's always so important when you're bringing somebody in, learn a little bit about the backstory and a little bit about what they did. Your mom had said, and I remember this, it hit me. She's like, I taught you to be tough. Talk a little bit about mental toughness. Do you feel like in today's world, is that important? Is that applicable to today's business world, would you say?
It's even more, because there are so many distractions. You know, your focus is like energy. Your focus is like energy. And little things will chip away at your focus. Little things will pull at your energy. I'm giving you a great example. Social media is so detrimental to your winning throughout the day. You know, you're focused and you're moving in one direction, and you get a notification on your phone. You stop. You focus now your energy on the notification. Now you got to pull your energy back from that notification 1 minute later to focus back on what you're doing. You're stopping, starting all day, stop and starting all day. That means that you have no ability to generate momentum and inertia behind what you're doing. So therefore, what you produce is going to be lackluster, because it doesn't have all of you. It just has a portion of you.
I know that more than ever, because even growing up, I was diagnosed with ADD, and it was the one thing that said, hey, he can't pay attention. He's always focusing on everything else around him, but the coursework. And that was before the days of social media. So now as an adult, I mean,
it's like, man, it's like,
it's magnified times 1,000. That's awesome. Well, Shawn, for everyone that's tuning in, if there were one piece of advice or something that you'd want to leave everybody with that you felt like has really propelled you to the levels of, I mean, really just surpassing what everyone else, I mean, very few people ever make it to a professional level of being an athlete, and then being able to take that and turn it into a business. I mean, what advice would you give to young aspiring entrepreneurs, or someone who's really just looking to reinvent themselves?
Persistence through resistance. You know, adversity can break you, or it can make you a record breaker. It's the difference. The difference is perspective. What is it? Is it an obstacle, or is it an opportunity? You have to be able to flip that in your mind, and you have to be able to forge and fight through. You're forging, and when you fight, it gives you strength, it gives you fortitude, it gives you stamina. Okay. The more you focus, the stronger you become. What happens oftentimes is that we come up against resistance, and then, we kind of fold. We get kind of soft. We break down. No, you got to forge, and you got to fight through that. You got to just get ruthless with it. Now, check it out. I mean, how did you learn how to walk as a child? You fell down. How did you learn how to ride a bike? You kept falling. Get back on the bike and allow the pain to turn into purpose, and the purpose will turn to power, and keep moving. And that's how you grow. It's not the opposite. You will fail. You will get hurt. You will miss your numbers. You will have setbacks. You will have missed quarters. You may even have to file for bankruptcy. And when you fall down, if you can look up, baby, you can get up. Because that's what we do. You play the game to win. And in this game, ladies and gentlemen, there's always a way to win.
That is powerful. For everyone that's watching, something too that one of the most impactful things I remember watching not too long ago was it was Denzel Washington, and it was Fail Forward. And embracing that failure. And I mean, you've had to have overcome so many obstacles to get where you were. I mean, would you would you say that failure is an essential part and an essential path to that level of success that you achieved?
No, I'll take it one step further. Failure is a part of winning. It's the opposite side of its coin. And so you want one side of the coin, but you don't want the other side of the coin. You want all the happy moments, but you don't want the sad moments. You want all the accolades, but you don't want the pain, and you don't want missing the marks. Michael Jordan missed a lot of shots. Jim Harbaugh, as I mentioned earlier, threw interceptions. Peyton Manning missed it. We all miss it. But what do you focus on? What are you locked into? Is the pain of missing it so great? Is the pain of missing it so great that you're no longer willing to try? I tell you what, the pain of regret is greater. It's greater. You got to go for it. You got to swing. Swing for the fences. Sometimes you throw jabs. Sometimes you throw haymakers.
Sometimes you miss altogether and fall on the mat. But you got to get back up.
Get back up.
I love it. Well, Shawn, thank you so much for coming on. You gave some amazing takeaways for everybody that's watching. If you're looking for help with overcoming obstacles, challenges, your mindset, you want a coach that can help you, that's literally applied all of these principles to his life, go to his website, shawnharper.org. And again, Shawn, thank you so much for coming on. This was awesome. I feel like everybody in here got a lot of positivity that's needed, because media and everything right now is a lot of negativity out there. Yes. And something I feel from talking with you is that you're not someone that's sitting there, you're not focusing on all that bad stuff. You're actually, because what you focus on, I mean, from what I've found in my life, what you focus on, you find it becomes you. So I think that's
it's if I could speak to that, it's people always ask me, well, what do you think about this situation and that situation? I may have a sentence and then I'm done. You know, I'm not sitting there all day watching. I don't even watch TV. You know, I don't watch TV. You know, and I barely go to movies. Now, yes, I will enjoy something good on Netflix every once in a while, but I don't get caught up in that because I've learned something. And it's something that I'm really processing, and one day I'm going to write about it. The people who get caught up in gossip, the people who spend their time, talking about negative issues, and they strife and they gossip and they backbite, look at the quality of their life. And the reason why they're at that level is because they're speaking at that level. They're interacting at that level. It is contagious. And so I purposely shield myself from people like that as much as possible. I don't associate with them. And I don't associate with negativity of certain amounts in the press or even on social media. I just don't get involved. People think, well, Shawn, you don't care, or you're distant. And no, I'm protecting my heart, because out of the heart flows the issues of life.
Man, you waited all the way to the last thing to say that. That is powerful. But you're right. And I'll tell you what, I've always found that if I'm focusing on all the bad things that are happening, I can only control what I can control. I can control how I react to things, and then I just keep moving forward. Because if I stop and I start getting involved in, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be it's something negative. It just, if it doesn't serve the purpose that I'm here for, that God has put me here for, then what am I? It's not in alignment.
Yeah.
So I love it. Well, Shawn, again, thank you so much for coming on. For everybody that's tuning in, again, shawnharper.org. And for everyone that's watching, we'll see you same channel, same time, same place next week. Shawn, thanks again.
Thank you. Be blessed.
Thank you. You too. See you guys.